Hello, everybody. I am back. I know I promised in my last video it will be a couple weeks, and instead it's been a couple months, but that's how life happens. So, it wasn't until I went back and listened to my last video that I heard how much static and background noise was going on. And I'm new to the YouTube game, so I'm just going to ask you to forgive me and have some grace while I get it under wraps. I really need to invest in one of those stands and a ring light and the whole setup, but for now we're just going to settle with what we got. Okay, moving on to today's topic, which is actually moving on. All right, today is a big day because it is the inauguration of President Joe Biden. I think last time I posted, he had just been elected, him and Vice President Kamala Harris. You see, I got my pearls on. Don't have any chucks, but got the pearls. And so that really made me think a lot about us moving on. Don't get me wrong. I think I said in the last video, I don't think because Biden and Harris are now in the White House, their problems are going to magically disappear, like a magical rainbow is going to wash over the land and COVID's going to disappear and racism and all of that, and we're just going to be holding hands and singing Kumbaya. Not hardly. But I do think that even though the work is not done, it's not up to them alone. It's up to all of us. But that was my last video. We're going to move on to today's topic, which is moving on. Now, for the past 4 years that the former resident of the White House, that's what I always called him, the person that lives in the White House. For the past 4 years, I have been glued to the news. I've been glued to the talk shows, glued to CNN, MSNBC, anything that could give me the news of the day. I just had to know, I had to hear what that man was doing, what he said, what he was up to. I don't know what it was like. It was like an addiction. Maybe I just felt like the better informed I was, the more prepared I would be. Instead, I think what I did was traumatize myself. It's like, or it was like, watching a nonstop horror show. You know, you just kept wondering what corner Jason, Mike Myers, the monster, was going to pop out of next. Even after the election was over, I was still in that state of just hyper alertness, just watching, wanting to know what he was going to do next. But I want us to stop. I want me to stop. I'm going to stop wondering about what he's up to and what he's going to do next. It's time for us to move on. Now, when I say move on, I don't mean just become blissfully unaware and unengaged, not paying attention to politics anymore. I think we do need to be aware. I think we need to know what's going on in the world around us. And we need to figure out what's our part in it. Is there anything that we can do to make things better? But what we can move on from is foolishness. I really hope the news outlets, social media, I hope they're listening, and I hope they follow through on this. We don't need to know everything that Trump thinks, says. We don't need to hear his rantings and ravings. We don't know if need to know if he's golfing that day at Mar-a-Lago. We don't need to know, what he had for breakfast. We need to leave him behind. And just like I said, the foolishness. We don't need to hear every conspiracy theory that's out there. Anybody knows that the quickest way to extinguish a fire is to deny it oxygen. So can we please deny him that oxygen? I hope social media sticks to their process and bans him indefinitely. Now, when I say we need to move on, I'm not talking like some of my Republican brothers and sisters who don't think he should be held accountable for all the most recent foolishness. No, that still has to happen. He still has to go on trial. He still has to be held accountable for any criminal misdeeds he did. We can't just say, oh, let's just forget about it. But what we don't have to subject ourselves to anymore is any more of his thoughts about the world and how it should be run. Because guess what? He's no longer the head of the country. So, that's just my 2 cents. Hopefully it won't be another 2 months before I'm back. See you soon.